Australians have no tolerance for corruption.
Welcome back, everybody. Now, I know if you're a member of the What Do You Mean team, you knew this video was coming. If you saw any headlines or anything in the news about this, I know that you're like, I wonder when What Do You Mean will put their 2 cents in. Well, that is now. I thought I would wait a little bit to see how many stories come out, and oh boy, there's been a few. Alright, and I've got some clips from some news outlets for you, and let's do this.
The $100 million Community Sports Grants program was frequently directed to marginal seats ahead of last year's election under then Sports Minister Bridget McKenzie. The Prime Minister launched an investigation into the scandal, but News Corp has today revealed at least 2 of his staffers were involved in handling funding applications from MPs under the scheme. However, the Prime Minister has strongly rejected he or his office had anything to do with making funding decisions.
Minister, how is your parallel selection process slanted to marginal electorates anything other than pork barrelling?
This highly popular and successful program, by the ANAO report's own words, no rules were broken. Every single one of those 684 projects that were funded was eligible for funding under the guidelines.
And was disproportionately in marginal electorates, more so the closer you got to the election. Was that a statistical accident, or did you pork barrel?
Well, if anything, Tim, there's a case of reverse pork barrelling.
Alright, there's the meaning of pork barreling. And on the surface, some people might think, oh, what's wrong with that? You know, isn't that kind of what they're meant to do? Well, you see, my issue with it is just pumping money into an area and then hoping they vote for you. It's like the election comes around and the voter goes in and goes, I reckon I'll vote for that guy who gave my footy club a massive check. And then their representative can stay in Parliament and continue to vote for bills that will screw you and I over and vote against bills that will help you and me and the environment. So that's my main problem with it. It is just buying votes, and it's just the cover for all the horrible decisions they make while voting.
Another Stage 3 grant went to the Summers Yacht Club in your electorate. It was just over $170,000. Now, you posted this on Facebook, and I'm interested in the comments from the club's treasurer, Tim Brock. If we can just take a listen here.
On behalf of the club, I'm just so delighted to be here to accept this very generous contribution to the club. I'd also like to thank Sports Australia and your office in particular, because I know there's been a little bit of work behind the scenes on your behalf to support our club, and thank you very much for that.
It's the work behind the scenes that we perhaps want to know a bit more about now. Did you ask for that money directly from the Senator, or was this being run by some party bosses?
No, what we do is, like all MPs, and all MPs should be doing, is fighting for and advocating for projects within their electorate.
This was a merit-based system, though. This was supposed to go on merit. There was nothing in the guidelines about lobbying, and that Facebook post was put up 1 day before the federal election. This is way different to what you're describing.
No, with great respect, what this is about is arguing for a case within your electorate, and this is what MPs are meant to do. They are meant to find where there are worthy cases and to advocate for them. That's it would be extraordinary if a Member of Parliament were not to do that. And when you see projects
with respect, Greg
that are good and positive and support and should be supported, then you should be supporting them, writing letters of support, making the case for them, and that's part of the job, part of the role. In the
Greg
House
Hunt,
of
I
Representatives,
have to interrupt there.
The constitutional definition.
With respect, what the fuck was that? Oh, and did somebody mention Constitution?
Okay, well, the Commonwealth is only given limited powers under the Constitution. There's no power given to it in relation to sport. And you might remember the case that Ron Williams brought challenging the chaplaincy scheme. In those cases, the High Court said, well, the Commonwealth can't spend money on things unless there's parliamentary authorisation for it and unless there's some support in the Constitution for it. In this particular case, the Commonwealth might rely on what's sometimes called its nationhood power, but that means you either need some kind of a national emergency, like the bushfires or the global economic crisis, resurfacing an oval, not really a national emergency, or it has to be something that peculiarly only the Commonwealth can do and the states are unable to do. And we know that the states can and do give out sports grants. So it doesn't seem to fit either of those, which means that there's a bit of a problem in terms of supporting this program.
Ooh, and the plot thickens. So it went from, oh, we don't know if you should be handing out funding to that place and that place, to, oh, I don't think you should be handing out funding at all.
There was reports this morning that one club was given $8,000 through this program. There's no, that club has been placed into liquidation and no one knows where the money went. Sports Australia is trying to claw that back. Are you concerned about the operation of this grants program if things like this are occurring?
What I'm pleased about is that hundreds of sporting bodies all across the country who put forward eligible projects were able to get support for those projects, and that they have a government that cares about the sporting infrastructure in communities. Because I've got 2 daughters. I don't want them changing in the car or out the back of the shed. I want them to have access to sporting facilities in our community like the boys do.
Bridget McKenzie has done an outstanding job, and I know in my electorate and others there have been facilities set up, particularly for women's sport. They need to have proper change rooms.
See, I already thought it was weird that they kept mentioning females' change rooms before this came out. Sports grants. Rugby Club gets funding for female change rooms but has no women's team. Old Collegians in Adelaide wins $500,000 in one of the grants directed to coalition-held marginal seats from the 24th of January 2020. I won't read the whole thing to you, I'll just read you some key parts. The club located in coalition-held marginal seat of Sturt was awarded the maximum available grant under the scandal-ridden $100 million Community Sport Infrastructure Fund just weeks before the 19th of May election. Announcing its success in securing the grant, the club thanked the office of then Liberal MP Christopher Pyne and the state Liberal Deputy Leader Vicky Chapman, who is also a club sponsor. It was one of a number of grants the National Minister Bridget McKenzie directed to government-held marginal seats under the program, which the Auditor General found prioritised funding in coalition marginal and targeted seats while ignoring a merit-based assessment process undertaken by Sports Australia. Guardian Australia has been contacted by concerned former members of the club who said the Old Collegians Rugby Union Club does not need new female change rooms if it does not have a women's team, expressing anger at the lucrative grant despite I don't think that's the right word to have there. An alleged culture of mistreatment and misogyny that led to the entire female team quitting in 2018. Rugby SA confirmed that the Old Collegians last fielded a women's team in the state competition in 2018 when they were successful in securing the premiership. According to the club website, it's hoping to reinvigorate a women's team ahead of the 2020 season, but it has not yet registered a women's team for the 2020 competition. Sports Australia told Guardian Australia that the grant awarded in the 3rd round of the program would support the club to build new amenities and upgrade existing facilities at Linden Park. The project includes the construction of female change rooms and facilities, wheelchair accessible toilets and multi-purpose space for support of broader community sporting activities. The Auditor General report found that 73% of grants awarded in the 3rd round had not been recommended by Sports Australia based on a merit assessment process that considered community need and increased participation. It is not known if the Rugby Club grant was one of those recommended by Sports Australia. I almost have rather them never to have a women's team and then get money for the change rooms, because knowing that the women's team left because of sexual harassment and just being mistreated, and then a year later they got money for a women's change rooms, and a year later they still don't have a team, and I'm pretty sure the rugby season starts in April. I'd be quite shocked if they managed to pull together a team and have one ready by the time this season. Now, Sturt's my hood. So this rugby club isn't too far away. So I thought we'd have a look. Nice green oval. It's in a nice area. I'm guessing that's where you'd have the bar. And down here, see, because I don't know, I haven't personally been there, but I just assume that would be a place where you would have change rooms. Looks like they could possibly have had 2. Oh, doggo. And then my field agent went all the way to the end to observe that there's just a car park. I had a moment where I thought, are we allowed to do this? But then I was like, hang on, they got $500,000 of taxpayer money, so you better believe we're going to go have a look. See, now these toilets here, I don't know how new they are, and they also have a wheelchair ramp. Good on them, but me personally from here, it doesn't look like they were made in the last year or so. So where did this money go? Who's got it? What are they going to do with it? Other places that got funding in Adelaide were Tea Tree Gully Golf Club, and they got $190,000 for a new foyer and a lift. And Royal Adelaide Golf Club received $50,000 for solar panels. Just gotta love how they're handing out money to golf clubs and yacht clubs and still saying, oh, it's to increase participation and to keep Australians active. Oh, really? Mate, it's just bullshit. They refuse to raise New Start. Volunteer firefighters are given $20 and a pat on the back, but yet we can help a golf club get solar panels? Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, become a patron at patreon.com/WDYM videos, and have a good one.